welcome. Oh, today I'm so happy to be coming your way again with two special guests. You know, sometimes, well, it's every time I get a guest, I'm super excited. But why I'm excited is that we have the one and only Emmanuel Smith in the house, drum roll. And then he came with a special guest. Today when I posted, I didn't want to tell the world that, you know, because security, you know, we had to get the security. It's like, you know, when the royal families are coming, the prince's mom is, or the king's mom is coming. So I am so thankful that Emmanuel is here with his beautiful mother, Doris Smith. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Emmanuel, you know I
know, I get that.
You get that. Yeah. So let's start from. I don't even know where to start. I'm because of Mom. I was saying she's the celebrity, first of all, being a mother's son, you know, especially in UK, which we're going to talk about. Tell me a little bit about Emmanuel Smith.
Anytime I get asked this question, I always say that Emmanuel's like the boy next door.
Next door.
Yeah, next door.
Yeah.
I don't try and make it out like I'm some special human being. I'm just someone that God has given a gift to, and I want to share it with the world. And that's what, because I want to make myself accessible to people to know that whatever I'm doing, they can do it also. And in a nutshell, that's Emmanuel. I like to joke a lot. Only if I'm, you know, I can't let everyone see that.
Okay, so today after that we will we'll have our own comedy show. I like that. I like that. But you're special. You know why you're special? Because a lot of people have been given gifts. But they're scared.
That's true.
To come out to the world and do, especially going on a platform as big as The Voice UK. So it is very important that we let people know that no matter what, you know, we are all special, and the gift that God has placed in us is special. So tell me, you're growing up in Ghana because you Mom left you in a way before. I know. So growing up in Ghana whilst Mom was away, tell me about it.
I don't know, for some reason, since I was young, my mom knew that I've always wanted to serve God. I wanted to be in ministry. So even though my mom wasn't there, the fact that she was sending me money every month. I remember back then, getting that money, going to the Western Union transfer, get that money was important for me. But growing up without her, she always made sure that I was in safe hands. So I was living with people that, really were capable of taking care of me, and that helped me a lot. So growing up without her was hard, but for some reason I always knew that we would, come back together, and so I really understood why she had to do what she did.
Mom, thank you for coming. So Doris Smith, that is Emmanuel Smith's mom. And when you were traveling to abroad, what was the reason of coming to abroad, apart from we know that we're coming to make the pounds?
I would say we all travel outside with a view of making life better. And as you all know, I've been a single parent all this while, and I've always prayed and looked for ways to be able to look after my children. So when the opportunity arose for me to travel, I just grabbed it, knowing very well that my being here I'll be able to do a lot to help my children. So that was, I would say, the main reason why I took that opportunity.
So how many children have you got?
I've got 2.
Oh.
One man and one girl.
I like that, one man and one girl. So when you were leaving, all of us, when we were traveling, did you go to the airport with them?
Oh yes.
And who cried?
I can't even remember.
So today we are remembering stuff.
We went to the airport together, and it was very difficult, but then I had to. Sometimes we have to go through this, knowing very well that the end result will be very good. I remember very well the very day I left Ghana, and They all came to see me off.
Yeah, we're gonna cry. Oh,
Yeah.
I need some tissue. Actually, I was gonna put some tissues in. So that we're doing some crying.
Yeah, my mom was alive then, and two of my siblings, and then Emmanuel came to see me off at the airport. And I remember after checking in, and I turned around, and Emmanuel was trying to run to follow me.
Oh.
It was really difficult, but I had to keep walking.
Oh wow.
I had to keep walking.
You didn't look back.
I looked back, but I couldn't go back.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say when I came here, it was a bit difficult. Sometimes when I'm eating, I'll be thinking, oh, has Emmanuel eaten? I knew very well he was being taken good care of, but then as a mother, you know how it feels. So sometimes I'll be eating and I'll stop eating and I'll ask myself, has Emmanuel eaten? But then, knowing the reason why I came, I had to carry on. And then, by God's grace, when the time came, he came to join me. Yeah.
So when the phone call came and they said you're joining Mommy, how was the feeling like?
Before even that phone call came, I was having dreams of being in the UK already.
Mm-hmm.
So when that phone call came, I was in a way prepared for it. I was excited for it. I remember my uncle was helping to bring me over, and when they gave us the indefinite to come, I called them and I was like, they refused me.
Why? Why would you say that?
No, I said no. We called my mom.
Yeah.
And I told my mom, they refused. And she was quiet on the phone. She was like, huh? And I said, no, I'm joking.
Oh my God.
They're giving us my documents. Not indefinite. I mean, as in
To come,
visa to travel. Yeah.
That is brilliant. So you know, most of the time when young men or young women, parents are over here and then they have to bring them, you know, when they come, it's a different ball game altogether. When they came, talk me through how you felt, the bond, how you know.
There's one thing that I recently told him when I was pregnant with him. I remember my man of God told me I was carrying a covenant child. So I remember when I had him, he told me not to cut his hair for a whole year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which of the prophets is it?
Yeah. Samson.
Samson. Oh, wow. Okay.
So I didn't cut his hair until he was after a year old. So people thought he was, I had a female child. And since that time, I've always known that he was a covenant child. Because even from infancy, he really, really loved God's work.
Okay.
He started going to Sunday school. Sometimes he'll go to church without me. Even if I say I don't feel like going or I don't feel well today, he will just go. And there was this elder around us who was having this evening Bible studies, and he was always there. Okay. Although he was not at that level, but he was always there. And then when I came over here too, sometimes I'll call home and I'll be told, oh, he's gone to the park with some people to pray. So honestly, bringing him over, I knew the sort of person that he was. So I knew very well that he being a good boy, he wouldn't change when he comes over.
Oh,
because well, from infancy, I knew who he was, and he's shown that character throughout, even when I was not there. So I knew very well he wouldn't change when he comes over, and through to that.
But how long were you separated for?
I would say
about 7 years.
Almost 8 years.
8 years. Because you know why I'm asking that? Because sometimes when parents are away and they bring their kids over, first of all, it's hard for them to adjust. You know, and then obviously here in the UK, parents are working, so mom is gone, you're on your own, you know. So how did the two of you rekindle that mother, son, and your other sibling? How did you connect?
Fun enough, it was really, when I came, it was, I think about 3 weeks later, my mom gave birth.
2 weeks, about 2 weeks.
So she didn't even have time to like.
No.
Right.
So for me, it was organic for me, and because my mom had left when I was young, I had learned to kind of grow to be a man anyway. So I wasn't too dependent. I didn't come asking for affections all the time, and you know, I came in and I know we shouldn't say this, but I almost saw her like a sister, a bigger sister.
What?
Because I had a respect for her as a mother, but I had to see her also as a bigger sister, so I could connect with her and be able to tell her everything. You know, so me and my mom had this relationship where I could tell her everything. And so that's how we really bonded.
And we thank God that he is a good boy, because most of the time the boys especially, they bring them and then they go to school and then you know it's a different
I had my
story.
fair share.
Okay, so I know.
Today will be exposing something.
Exposing juicy news for our wonderful news. So if you've just tuned in, I am having a chat with Emmanuel Smith, who is a award-winning gospel singer, songwriter, a motivational speaker, but then we are focusing on what he really does best, which is his music, your gospel music, and his wonderful mom, Mama Doris, or Mommy Doris, or Queen Doris. Today I'm going to give you a name. So tell me, how was Emmanuel when he came and started school?
You know, there was this. I would try and cut it down a bit.
No, tell me.
You know, in Ghana, there's discipline in school. You know, you get a certain mark, you get beaten. Well, I don't know what's happening now, but back then, you know, we'd get beaten, all of this kind of stuff. So I remember coming to this country and going to secondary school for the first time. And during one maths lesson, the teacher was talking, and then one boy was being rowdy, so the teacher said, "Yo, be quiet." And the boy said, "Shut up." Listen, I felt like I was watching a film because that would not happen in Ghana. So, and the teacher didn't do anything to him. So for me, it was a whole culture shock. And also because I'd grown up in Ghana, and like my mom was saying, I was always praying, always in church. Coming here and seeing the freedom that people had, you know, girls around and all of that kind of stuff. But what helped me was that deep down, I always knew that I was called for ministry. So I always knew that there was a boundary.
Okay.
So I didn't, you know, drink till now. I still don't drink alcohol. Okay. So I don't smoke, nothing. Mine was just, I just
What about
see,
the girls?
I see girls and I'm just like, wow.
She just sees the girls.
Just wow.
Okay. That's a new one for all the guys. Wow. Okay, that is excellent.
Yeah, so for me, obviously this is being raw, but I didn't even lose my virginity till I started uni. I was about 17.
And how old were you?
Literally 20.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Today we're going to get. Oh, that is brilliant. So
I don't think my mom knew that, but thank you.
Mommy has been praying. Thank you for exposing that on the Nana Church show. I like that.
Yes.
So Mommy, I'm thankful that you're proud of him and you know who he's becoming. So after uni, all this while you knew you were called. He's a covenant child, so you knew you were called to. So what made you want to say, okay, after, so what did you study at uni?
Media and cultural studies.
Oh, okay, so still in the arena of media. And so after that, what, you sat back and said you wanted to go full-time into gospel music?
That's the thing. I came out of uni, a graduate, and I was working in Clark's.
Okay.
Retail, and you know, because I didn't know what to do with my degree, because it was a broad thing, so you don't know which part of the media you're really going to go to, because it didn't focus on, let's say, journalism or so I didn't know what to do. Finished that, worked in Asda, Marks and Spencer. So it was about 2 years ago. Then 2.5 years or 2 years ago, I sat down with my mom and I said, "Mom, to me, I'm going to work and I'm very frustrated because I know that there's something else that I should be doing. So I know it may be difficult. You know, you're working hard to pay the rent and all of that kind of stuff. So, but please, I want to really go for it full time. I really want to dedicate all my time to it." And in a way, I was scared to ask, but I wasn't scared at the same time because I know my mother. I know how understanding that she is. So when I had that conversation with her, she was like, "I'm not going to stand in your way because I know that this is what you've been called to do." And that's what changed my life, literally. Yeah.
Wow, thank you, thank you, because some mothers would say, hey, we're in London. What is gospel music going to do, or what is going into media going to do? And this is what dream is about. I'm a woman of dreams. I'm so into dreams.
Yeah.
And most of the Ghanaian children or African children, I'm thankful that you weren't the mom that said, go be a doctor or a nurse or an accountant, or you knew from day one when he was conceived that he was going to be like this. And so when he told you, I know you said here, but what went in your head when you two had that conversation?
To be honest, when he told me that he wanted to go into full-time ministry, I'm human. Yeah, I'm human. I sat down for just, I would say, a minute or two. But then I've always known that there's no way you can do God's work and he will not repay you. So when he said it, and before I come to that, the Lord has seen us through a lot of things. I have a lot of testimonies.
You can share some today.
A lot of testimonies. If I tell you how we received our stay in this country, you'll be surprised. Because God has done so many things for us. So when he said he wanted to go into full-time ministry, all I said was, okay, if that is what you want to do, I will not stand between you and what you want to do. Because there's no way you do God's work and he will not repay you. And I know that he's seen us far up to this end. So whatever is left, he will be able to do it. So definitely, if he's looked after us all this time, I don't think this few years or whatever you are going into full-time ministry will make any change. So I agreed and I gave him my blessing. And I thanked the Lord. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks ago, we had this 2 weeks fasting and prayers at church. And one lady, friend of mine, Family Life Christian Center. Okay. And there's this very dear sister called Sister Diane. So she says, my sister, God richly bless you for what you are doing. And I said, no, I'm not doing anything. It's all God. She said, no. But God had to trust you in order to give you Emmanuel, because he knew you could handle it. And then when I went home, I said, oh my God, I haven't looked at it that way. And what she said made sense to me. Because if I was able to accept what he wanted to do, then I mean God knew I could handle that. That's why he gave him me. Yeah. So until about 2 weeks ago, I hadn't looked at it that way. But all the same, I thank God very well that I was able to accept what he said and then to put my trust in him and allow him to go into full-time. And one thing is, he being in full-time gives him the time to be able to meditate, to wait on the Lord and everything. And it's part of why he's where he is now. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. So it's important that, if you're a parent watching, sometimes it's very important that we have that discussion with our daughters, with our sons, because, there's something in every child. I think I was having this conversation with my husband, saying that, every child that we have, it's an assignment that God has given us. Yeah. So we are kind of caretakers. So if you don't help your son or your daughter to come to their full potential, and you're leaving them in the hands of other people, you'll be accountable for their life. So we're thankful that mommy allowed you to. But obviously the bills had to be paid. So sometimes you needed money, you have to go to him.
No, funny enough, my mom will tell you, for the past, I've never asked her for money.
So you had money somewhere before the voice and
okay. God in his own way was just looking after me. I mean, there's never a time all these years that I've missed a bill payment.
Wow.
Every single time God paid. Every single time.
Wow.
To the point that there was a time I played guitar for about 2 years now, and I remember this is one testimony. I had no money for one guy, because I did about 6 lessons with one guy, and during one of the lessons I didn't have money. So I was going to message him in the morning to say, bro, please, I can't do it today. And I just felt the Holy Spirit say, check your account. And I checked my account, and there was at least about £250.
Oh, wow.
More than enough to pay for the lesson and enjoy myself.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It goes to show that he's faithful. So
Yeah, he's very
we're so
faithful.
thankful. So now, you definitely, so you go to the same church with mom?
No.
You go to why is it when he became he diverted it?
Oh, no.
From day one, you've gone to separate churches.
Not from day
When
Not
I first
from day
came,
one.
We were going to the same
Right.
church, Love Chapel. Now I currently go to Labor of Love World Ministries in East Croydon. But that decision was taken probably about 8 years ago actually.
Okay.
I was always following my mom somewhere, but then it got to a point where, as a person, you realize that you have to know God for yourself.
Yes.
So I wanted to go somewhere that I felt that I could grow and not just be, not that. Sometimes it's not every church that you feel like you can grow. Not that the church is not good.
Yeah.
But we're going to different churches, and now she found a church a few years ago where now she's also doing great things there. So we're both growing where we are. And maybe one day,
you find your own church, then I'll come and join you.
Yeah.
So let's come to The Voice.
Yes.
So what made you wanted to go on The Voice?
Okay. Now I'm not going to get too spiritual.
Yeah.
I believe that as human beings, we all have desires. Just like people want to work for the biggest bank or the biggest company. I've seen, I've watched The Voice, I've watched X Factor, and I've always wanted to be on that kind of platform. So 2015, I tried for X Factor and The Voice, got refused, rejected. 2017, tried again, got rejected. So I just said, maybe it's me that wants to do it. But deep down, I don't know, I just knew that I belonged on that stage. So in just end of, I believe 2018. I said to God that, and 2017 when I got rejected on the X Factor, imagine, went through all the processes, and the day that was the big day of the coaches, the judges were there. We were there from 9 a.m.
From 9 a.m.
9 p.m.
You were going with mom?
Yeah, with my mom, and then they told us that, there's not enough time. And that was like...
What?
Yeah.
There was not enough time to see you?
Yeah. And that was it. All the months and weeks of auditioning and going through all of that.
What do you mean by there was not enough time? I don't understand.
The judges were probably tired because it was a long day, so they just come in and
How did you feel? How did you feel?
Oh.
The two of you had to
It felt like the air, like it's like someone just punched me in the air. I was like, I didn't know how to feel. And what was sad was even my mom's birthday was like 2 weeks after that.
No, 2 days.
2 days after that. Yeah. So for me, it was like I was imagining going through, and then we celebrating her birthday. Now you can imagine now that news, and so it was. So I said to myself, So I remember I said that about that day. I think the next day or something, my mom was like, don't worry, this thing may be not for you. Just stay in the church. Go
No, I didn't mean it wasn't.
Not in a bad
I didn't mean it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a particular time in your life that you should be doing something. At that time, I thought he would compromise.
Yes.
Because he was eager to do it. So it will make you do what you're not supposed to do. So I told him, maybe this is not the time. Not that it's not for you, but it's not the time. And
then so I said to God, I'm not going to try again until they approach me. And funny enough, within in 2018, they both approached me as Factor in The Voice.
They approached you?
Yeah, they emailed me saying that they seen my videos and they wanted me to come for an audition. So I was like,
I forgot. British Got Talent to email
that was later on.
That was later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the thing is, I went to one of my friends' house, Lauren Wright, and she advised me about Habakkuk, where it said, write the vision and make it plain. So I came home, I remember I wrote...
Could you say it loud for the young men and women out there, and everyone. What did you say, write what?
Write the vision and make it plain.
Yes.
So it's like, whatever you want, this is God telling you, just write it down. So I came home, I wrote X Factor, I wrote The Voice, I wrote British Got Talent. And I put the date 2018 on there, posted on my wall, amongst other things I wanted.
Wow.
So when X Factor and The Voice called me, I was like, okay, cool. But I still wanted a sign from God if this was, him, because I was wary of what people would say as a worship leader. What are you going to do on a secular show?
Yes.
So my first sign, I remember I went for the audition. Remember, I've done this before. When I wasn't really expecting anything, and then the voice replied and said, yeah, come for the next phase. So I was like, oh, okay. So I remember I was meant to go to Ghana, and the dates that they gave me, I only had 1 free day out of that. So I messaged them, I said, I can only do that day. So they said, okay, we'll get back to you. So I said, God, if it's off you, then please let them understand. They came back, they said, the day is fine. So I said,
wow.
okay. So now I went to Ghana, and this is where it gets interesting. I get to Ghana, no one, apart from my family, no one really knew I was really doing this thing. So I went to Ghana, and I met a man of God called Bibi Frederick, just randomly at an event that I went to. So I remember he said to come see him at home. I went to see him, so we're talking, and then he starts prophesying. He's like, oh, I see you singing, and these judges turning around.
Oh, wow.
Now, come on, this is someone that lives in Ghana. I was like, okay, God, now this is crazy now. I came back, the voice called me, you made it to the blind auditions.
Wow.
And that's how, it went. So for me, like my mom said, I wasn't ready before, because then I would have compromised.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was then. But God now trusted me, knowing that I would go on and not, disgrace myself, or I would go on and stand for him. And that's why this time he opened the door for me to be on there.
So, Mom, when he told you that he's made it through, how was the feeling? I mean, we saw some of the clips. I want to get inside you and see how it was.
Yeah, I was elated because who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
To see your son out there. Yeah. And as he said, this time he was going to show who he was. So I was proud in that sense that he was showing who he was. Yeah. So it was good.
I know. She's trying to keep it.
Oh yeah.
But I can see her jumping in the kitchen.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Especially when she saw them turn around.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was. How do I say? It was something else, because I was there with my daughter. Yeah, and if you saw the clip, you could see she was crying.
Yeah.
Before we went in, what they were doing is when somebody goes into audition, they don't come back to the family, so you don't know what goes on there.
Yeah.
So I remember when we were called to wait at the backstage, my daughter held my hand and said, "Mom, let's pray, let's pray, let's pray." And she was shaking, she was shaking, and we prayed. I said, and then she said, "Mom, even if he comes as far as blind audition, that's all." And I said, "No, he's going beyond that." So when we went in, and then one thing, Emma Willis, when she was interviewing us, she asked Emmanuel what song he was going to sing. He said he was going to sing Hallelujah. He said, what? Well, that was Jennifer's favorite. And you know how Jennifer is.
Yes.
So Emmanuel said, you know what? Jennifer is going to have an out-of-body experience. So she said, really? Okay. So when Emmanuel started singing, and Jennifer pressed the buzzer, if you could see, I jumped. I said, he told you that. He told you that. Yeah. So it was really, really something else. The experience was way beyond that.
So why did you choose to go with
Will.i.am?
Okay. Now, when the man of God said they're going to turn around, he also spoke about one of them really liking me.
So this is the man of God who didn't know you were going to go on The Voice.
Yep.
Oh.
And he's in Ghana.
He's in Ghana. One of them really liked
And Mom
me.
didn't tell him.
No,
I don't even know him.
No. Wow.
So and then when he spoke, I knew it was Will.i.am. So even during the auditions, before the pre-ones, were like, so who would you pick? The voice people were asking. I said Will.i.am. Even they were shocked that for the song you're doing, it's Will.i.am. So I always knew he was the one because ever since I was young and seeing him when they came out with Where Is the Love, there was, even though the group were amazing, there was something about him that I always, felt connected.
So it's like you had that connection way back. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And one thing I loved was the fact that, he doesn't usually do this, but after I picked him, he walked with me all the way to my family.
Oh, wow.
Stood with us, spoke with us for a while before he went back, which is, so for me, it's like his heart and just, it was just surreal just to be there.
So when you went home,
tell
me that night, when you laid on your bed.
Yeah.
How did you sleep? Did you sleep then?
This was in Manchester.
Yeah.
So my mom and my sister came back to London that same night. So I stayed back at the hotel. Let's just say I went back to the hotel, put my clothes and stuff down, came out, went to buy kebab, went to buy chicken wings and drinks.
You was
Listen, I mean, this is
to have four judges turn around. It's not.
And the thing was, this happened in October. So you're excited, you want to tell people, but you can't. You have to wait till the show.
You can't tell. You can't tell anyone. You have to sign.
Yeah, you sign.
Or you sign that.
So I knew in October that I'd got 4 turns.
Wow.
But I couldn't tell no.
Wow.
Hardest secret to keep.
Wow.
Yeah.
But mom, for mom.
Oh yes.
No, I was there.
Well done.
I was there.
Mom, you didn't tell anyone. You didn't have any.
I didn't tell anyone.
You didn't
I saw people to secrecy.
At least the pastor's
How could I keep it? How could I keep it to myself?
The pastor's wife, he said,
Of course.
please don't tell
anybody.
And then that person will go and tell somebody, don't tell anybody. All right,
it.
congratulations on that. So when we fast forward and then the semi-final came, I mean, then all of us, the Ghanaian community, that is when you start having all the people who don't know you start popping up. And so tell me the experience. Definitely you've had some people who didn't believe in you and believe in what you were doing. Was the church family supportive?
Initially, I would say about 5% were not supportive.
5%.
5%.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Because I think, people were still trying to come to terms with the fact that I'm a worship leader and I was on there even before they heard me sing. This was when they saw the advert.
Oh.
So it's like it was a bit hard because I was like, if you know who I am, then you should know that I'm not gonna go on there and change who I was. So it was up till when I sang Made a Way. That's when people, the doubters were like, oh, now we get it. And I'm like, you should have gotten it from the beginning.
What about your pastor?
Oh, he's been supportive.
Did you tell him from day one?
Yeah.
He did not say, hey, it's
I was trying the X Factor.
Yeah.
And he kept telling me it's not X Factor, it's the voice. And I never listened. I wanted the X Factor.
Bless you, Pastor. So he's watching.
Yeah, Pastor Joe has always been it's the voice. That's where you can exhibit your voice. So for the it was great that when I sang the Made a Way, I actually invited him into the audience, so he witnessed me doing that on that, and you could see the pride in it. I mean, he was like.
Made a Way was sung by Travis Greene. Have you met him?
Not yet, but
not yet.
He started following me on Instagram. Followed back. I mean, I was following him before. He wasn't following back, but he started following me. And shared my video on his page and everything. So I know one day I'm gonna meet him.
Yeah, I met him. And he was standing right by me after a concert, right by me, sweating and all that. We had our cameras. And then I did not interview him. When he walked away and went on stage again to sing, he made it. Then I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
But hey,
we'll make it happen. It will happen.
Yeah, definitely, it will happen. I will sit you and him down. You will
Amen.
sing, he will sing, and you will sing, and we'll see. We have our so now you went to the semi-finals, and we all thought you were going to win.
Of course, yeah. Even I believed I was going to win.
You believed it.
With everything.
So what happened?
For me, these shows, I'm not going to badmouth it, but there's a criteria, something that they want. And I believe that for me, they knew the traction that I could get because of the church, because let's be honest, some people from the church don't watch these shows, but when I was on there, a lot of people started watching it. They're like, oh, if Emmanuel's on, I'm watching it. And I had a lot of that, people saying that to me. So I believe that, it was great for the show until the semi-finals. For the finals, I was gutted that I didn't get to the finals. But for me, I was happy with what I achieved. I was able to sing a gospel song, made history, and then I was able to rap in G.
So you're going to rap today for me, yeah? You're going to rap for me. So, I mean, we very proud of you because it's very daunting. I mean, sometimes, just in front of the judges and the whole world but God, you've been put on that platform for a purpose and a reason, and there are more to come. So I'm glad that you stood on your ground and you know, you've done that. Then now you release Asoriede.
Yeah.
So why Asoriede? Asoriede means that for us who do not speak our languages, church is sweet.
It's sweet.
Church is sweet. It's lit.
fun.
Okay, so why Asoriede?
Okay, so people that know me know that I like to joke a lot.
Yeah.
Even when I'm doing praises in church, singing, I love to dance and make jokes. So I was in Paris and we're having a rehearsal. So during the rehearsal, we're singing Adonai, Saturday Adonai, and we got to one part. So as we're vibing, I'm like, sorry, I do.
Yeah.
Then I said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, then we start, everyone in the thing, so we start doing, I'm sorry, then we know they fear, we know they fear poverty, we know they fear barrenness, so all of that kind of stuff. So when we did that, I said, Charlie, when we come back to London, let's go studio and record it. And that's how,
that was how it came.
That's how the song came. So
this is amazing. And everybody loves it. Everybody, we all dance to it. So when you're traveling, do you sometimes go with mom?
Not yet.
Not yet,
but definitely soon.
Yeah.
I've been to most of his programs here.
Yeah.
Okay,
in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very because you know in the States, most of the moms are the managers for the talent. So. You know,
I don't think you would make. Only make me his manager.
You know what?
I would know too much.
Our Ghanaian mom too.
No. I wouldn't even want to do it.
I'll just buy her own shop and she can stay there.
No, why the shop? She's coming. Mommy, we're going.
Yeah.
So if you join us, you've just joined us. I'm having a wonderful chat with Emmanuel Smith, who is a award-winning singer-songwriter, a motivational speaker, and with his, and also he was the semi-finalist on The Voice UK 2019, and he's here with his wonderful mom who is doing amazing. And so Emmanuel, the O2, what made you want to do
the O2,
right?
I'm quite, I know we usually use it in a bad way, but I'm a crazy guy. Crazy faith.
Crazy faith.
Yeah,
okay.
so.
And creative as well.
So for me, when I believe I want to do something, especially if I believe it's going to bring God glory, it doesn't matter what people say, I'll go for it. So I remember, same thing, I went to America in May, and with my friend Yao, who was in America, and he was like randomly, let's go to one of my friend pastor's house. I said, okay, let's go. So we went there, and he happened to have his prophet friend there. So it's like God always sets me up. So we go there, and the prophet is talking. He's like, he's from Ghana as well. So he's like, I see you doing a concert in Southeast London. And I'm like, how is this guy? I live in Southeast. So it was too direct. So I was like, okay. So the minute he said that, the O2 came into mind.
Wow.
So I remember when I came back, I spoke to a few friends. I'm like, I want to do the O2. And they're like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, just go and ask the price. So the one that did their research came back, and the price, 16,000 was 16K. So it was 14,000 for seated, no, for standing, 16 for seated. Now, this is what I do full time. So even if I wanted to do it, I should have said, let me go for the cheaper one. But Emmanuel Smith was like, I want the seated one. I want to give people the option to sit, and if they want to stand.
With just the 2,000 extra.
Yeah. And I'd said, okay, and this was in June. Usually these events, you need a lot of time to plan.
Almost like 6 months,
to plan. So July was when we were able to get the date secured. This was the second week of July, and that's when we had to now go in. So I had to be going to programs here and there, gathering whatever I can, putting it, paying. And tickets were not going as quick as they should have. And I was like, oh my God.
Were you having sleepless nights?
Oh my days. I would wake up at my house. Because, you're imagining the worst.
Yes.
So I remember one night I was she's always embarrassed when I say this, but I was so down. I said, no, I don't think I can do this. And then the Holy Spirit began to minister to me. I said, remember that when your mom came to the country, the O2 was then called the Millennium Dome. I said, yeah, we're what's your point? You know, God, like, are you gonna get someone to give me money or? But then it was, I remember that your mom used to work there. She was a cleaner there, and I was like, wow, okay, so this is where she used to clean, and this is the same place that
you're gonna make history.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I needed.
Gingered you up.
That gingered me. That gave me
vim.
And you know, I just, you know, even when I was tired, I was still doing whatever I could. You know, I'll go to like 3 churches in a day. I was doing everything I can in my, because we always expect God to do everything for us. But no, He's opened the door. You can't expect Him to push you through the door. You have to walk through the door. So did everything I could in my power, because I wanted to look back after the night was done and say, you know, I couldn't have done any more. And so I remember on the day itself, I was in the change room, and one of my friends, Jemima, she's my PA, so she came to me, she's like, yo, the place is getting full, and I'm like, oh, please, whatever. So I put on a jacket, and I sneaked upstairs, and when I went upstairs, the massive rows of people, I was like, wow.
Why didn't you buy the ticket early?
But you see, that's how I believe God works.
Exactly.
I stood and I knew that it wasn't me.
Exactly.
It had to be God, you know.
Exactly. Because you know, it's amazing that everybody who is successful in whatever they're doing, it doesn't come easy. And it has to come at the last minute for it to test your faith and your belief system. And I'm happy that you stood your ground and did it. And I bet Mom is proud again. And you know, and those of us watching, we see Emmanuel, you know, we see social media, we see you, you know, doing the stuff, but we don't know the behind the scenes.
That's the thing.
That your heart was pumping, that like.
Your tears.
Did you cry?
Oh yeah, I did. You know, you had people telling me, listen,
It
God is
wasn't
going to
easy.
do it. God is going to do it. But you're like, yeah, you're saying God's going to do it.
God is going to do it.
That's it, like,
The margin for you.
It was so serious to the point that, but you see, God is so faithful that even in the last week of the show, this is another testimony. A church invited me, and they were doing a whole week of, I think it was 12 hours. Worship, prayer, all that kind of stuff. So they invited me, and I said, the week of my show that I can't really, but I will do the Wednesday morning for you guys. And so the guy came back and said, oh, my pastor said, if you can't do, you know, more than that's it. Not. So I think he sent a video of myself to the pastor. So now I was there, he messaged me saying, no, pastor said, if you can do that, 1 hour on the Wednesday, it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
So I said, okay, cool. I mean, so I went, I didn't charge them any amount, so I went there in the morning, and there was about 15 people in the morning. So even me, I was like, oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So I went on the stage, just gave my all, we worship, I mean, it was crazy. So as I finished and I go and sit down, this man randomly comes and hugs me. So even me, I'm like a bit uncomfortable because I don't know who he is, you know, but he's like, you know, I felt the Holy Spirit saying, let him do what he's doing. So he finishes like, can you write down your account details for me? So I'm like, okay.
Praise the Lord.
Oh, yeah, I'm expecting like some 50, 100. As me and my friend leave the question, we were driving off. I just said, let me check my account. I checked, and that man had put £1,000 in my account.
Wow.
And God was just bringing people to pay off some of the debts that, like some of the things that had to be paid off, to the point that I came off this show and I didn't have any debt. And when I say the ridiculous money that I had to pay, you know, my mom was worried. I was worried.
Mom has to bring all her savings. You know what? You know, I'm inspired. I'm motivated because if you're watching this, you need to follow Emmanuel and support his ministry. You know, because we need to harness our own. And before we went on, we were talking about it, how all of us have some talents, especially we're talking to the church people, because we are church people, and our gifts are in the house of God. But sometimes we tend to, I don't know the word to use, whether it's turn a blind eye. And you know, then the worldly people come and grab the talents that we have, and then we are the same people who say, hey, we criticize. So Emmanuel sharing his story today is one of many that are talented, but they need the support. There are producers out there, there are managers out there,
Yeah.
there are talents out there, there are publicists out there, and there are great talents like Emmanuel here, who somebody can. I mean, you have even worked by God's grace and
Yeah.
your mother's help.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know, some of us have to put ourselves out there before people buy into it. But the worldly system, they see the talent and then they grab it and polish it. So today, maybe if you're a man of God, a woman of God, a pastor, there are worship leaders. There are, well, so many that I think we should use Emmanuel's story to sit down with these talented young men and young women to harness the talent in them.
And not to even cut you off, one of the things I did for my show, because it was really impressed on my heart, was to sow £250 into an up and coming artist to go to studio to just record a song. And for me, imagine the money I was paying for the place, I still took out my own money, £250 to give to someone, which I've been able to do. And this is the thing, you know, let's just, sometimes we're waiting for some big money, but support people. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, this person, they don't need my money. But even if it's 10, 20, 50, whatever it is, give to help support someone. You know, I didn't have to go through all that stress, because when I heard the price, 16,000, I said, church people, we can do this. That was my belief.
Yeah.
Church people, 50 quid. You calculated the number of people you are.
I was like, more people can do this. We can definitely do this, but throughout the journey, I realized that
it took the last minute.
My faith was different from, you know, some.
Yeah, sure, because one person could have given out that money. 16,000.
I mean, 16 churches could have.
16.
Let's say that.
16 churches would have come
we
behind
have more than enough churches in this country.
Yeah.
Just to support, even if churches said we're giving 500, that was enough. And this is me, my mindset, and I think sometimes it's because some people don't understand how my ministry is, because, you know, from my journey I've been criticized about my beard, my hair. I don't look like your typical man of God. You know, I've had so much. So I think,
oh, really?
Yeah. So for me, it's like I don't fit the norm, according to some people. There was even one event I was invited to America. I want to mention the pastor that invited me had to convince his leaders, because they saw my
maybe you know, there are some people they
want clean cut
when they come with the beard.
To the point, he had to convince them to bring it. And it was after they brought me the experience, you know, what God used me to do. That's when now they want me back again, and you know, so it's sad that people look to the outer, just like
the outward appearance. Oh wow.
I probably look like a wolf in the show.
Oh, come on.
No, but this is
you know, we're laughing about it, but you know,
that's serious.
Some of the youth feel that they're really being judged, they're being criticized, and you know, but we're trying to change people's outer ways before they are inner, and that doesn't work that way. God works from inside out.
Inside out, yeah.
Because like the Bible says, what's in a man is what's going to come out. So let's focus on building a person. When they build that relationship with God, you wouldn't have to tell them, don't dress this way. Because the Holy Spirit in them will convict them that you don't need to dress this way.
So with your ministry, is it just about the youth, or?
For me, I bless God is giving me the ability to be able to appeal to all generations. I focus a lot on the youth, but you know, you put me in an old Pentecostal church by His grace and flow, and that's what I love about, you know, what God has given to me, because I don't try and limit God. I tell Him I'm available to do whatever He wants me to do.
Awesome. And you're a brand ambassador as well.
Yes, for Rock Your
African Print.
With you, of course.
You're going to rock your African Print.
I'm going to Ghana by God's grace in a few weeks.
Okay, so you bring a lot of the African print for us to wear. That is. So how did that come about? How did you? But I'm not going to tell you how it come about. Since I have interviewed you.
Obviously, I've known Denta for a little while, and for me, I love what she does, and she's with Gooba and everything. You know, they're doing amazing stuff. And for me, she also gave me an opportunity when no one really believed in me. allowed me to sing at Google where J.J. Rollins and all these people were there. So for me, she's someone that I was willing to do anything for. And with African, I mean, print, I love to wear, when I see all these actors and celebrities wearing this nice, I'm like, yo, where's my share? So when I got the message that, we want you to be a brand ambassador, I was like, yeah, I'm jumping on that, of course. So yeah, that's how it came about.
And that was the first time we met in person. But I know after The Voice we spoke, and I was very honored and humbled, because when people get on that platform, it's they grow the horns, and that will take you far. The humility that you have, and I can see when you came in. And how mom is, I can connect.
Get it from, right?
Yeah, and where you get it from. So, bless your heart. So, mom, I want you to talk to parents. Look in the camera and talk to parents out there how they have to support the children, especially the younger ones. How do they call them? The young adults.
Yeah, young adults.
Because Emmanuel is 20. You're going in you're 30 now, and he's still humble. How are you able to, connect in such a way with, especially this mental health issue going on?
I think one thing I'll say is I was brought up in a God-fearing home, and it is something that I've also instilled in my children. And the first thing we have to know is that without God, we can't do nothing. I always say, we talk about single parenting and all that, but I don't see myself as a single parent, because God has always been my partner, my rock and everything. And one thing I know is God gives us children for a reason. And we have a mandate. We have to bring up our children to the best of our ability. I remember when Emmanuel told me he wanted to do this work full time. Being a mother, single mother, it's not an easy thing. But I've always depended on God. You understand me? I've always depended on God. There's nothing you can do aside God. You always have to put your trust in Him. And then one thing is, even when you feel it's too much for you to bear, you go on your knees and you pray, and He is the one who will direct you. As I've always been telling Emmanuel, these songs you've been singing are the same songs everybody is singing. It's just by grace. And one thing is, when you humble yourself, God Himself will lift you up. You out there singing doesn't make you any different from the other singing. You understand? But when you humble yourself, it is God who is going to place you in places where you don't even expect. Emmanuel, these songs, sometimes people will say, Emmanuel will pick a song and he will change the whole thing. I say, yes, that is him. And that is one thing, humility. Humility. One thing is, we have to, as parents, we have to listen to our children. We listen to them, because it goes both ways. We listen to them. Sometimes we can learn from them. They also learn from us. It is not easy being a parent. There is no textbook. But the only thing you need is God on your side. You need God. In every move you make, you need God. So with me, what I would say is, you cannot bear it alone. You have to take it to God in prayer. He is the one who will give you the direction. And His direction is always good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So before we round up, definitely you have a wonderful support system. That's your mom. Apart from your mom, who are your other support systems?
Obviously my church, my pastor. I have a special someone too.
Okay.
Who's a great support.
Who is the special someone?
It could be the Holy Spirit.
No. You need to release.
No, in the right time.
At the right time.
Yeah, at the right time. Because I believe that with what I'm in and with what I'm doing, it's important to be stable. Because we know there's a lot of temptations out there. So I know at the right time, God Himself will see me.
Yes, so we'll be hearing the bells and everything.
Of course, I want to get married. I'm a human being. I need to enjoy before Christ comes. So I have that support system. Obviously, my mom, even her church, are really there for me. Pastor Nab and the Frank, they are always there for me. So I have, by God's grace, I have friends, Ben, Miracle, so many people, so many names, Selena, all of these people that are there for me. So I'm grateful to God for that. We just need now people to come in with their
yes, very important, very important.
Yeah.
So what has been your biggest challenge, and if you want to?
I would say coming off The Voice. I've been through a lot of stuff before then, but I didn't even speak to my mom about this. But coming off The Voice, you're on a high, and the minute the show finishes, it's like you come back down to reality, and it's like, so what's next? And I went through a phase of really feeling down because I felt I was going to win the show. But that's where flesh comes in, where we fail to see what God wanted you to do, rather than, oh, but I want to win, I want to win. So I had to come to the reality of whatever God wanted me to do, it was done. So that was tough, coming back to it, because you don't want it to stop.
Yeah.
You want to always be on that high, that high. So dealing with that, I went through some depression.
Would you associate with like mental health?
Yes, big time. I mean, I was always, it was so much that I was always, my head was hurting because my brain couldn't rest. Like, you're imagining, okay, if I had gone through to the final or this, or if this had worked out for me, if that, and people are looking at you and they're like, no, but this is working for you, this is what, oh, you achieved this, but you don't see that. You only see the negatives, and that's where mental health comes in. You're just like, it's just too much to bear. And, I had to find someone to be able to vent these things I was going through out. Otherwise, it would have, I began to understand why people commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
So who was that person that you vent to?
Definitely
your mom doesn't know about it till today. So no having a chat in the car.
No, he thought I didn't know. He's my son.
Yeah, so
I know him.
He was going through something.
Yeah, sometimes I'll say something just out of the blue just to test him. You understand? Because sometimes you'll be talking to him, you can see he's looking at you, but he's not concentrating.
Okay.
So I know you don't say you didn't talk to me about, but I knew what was going on here. And as I said earlier on, there are times when there is nothing you as a human being can do.
Yeah.
Because I always pray for him. That's one thing. I always pray because he needs prayer. And that's my main one thing that I pray about, that God will give him a woman who is God-fearing, who is very prayerful, because with the type of ministry he has, he needs somebody who will also help me, because I'm doing my part and I need a woman who will continue that. So you see, it's prayer. It's only God. It's only God. Yeah.
So I'm happy that there was somebody there for you too.
Of course.
So, and then what should we expect as we're going into the new year, to 2020? Somebody said 2020 is a clear vision, because when you go for an eye test, when you see 2012, what is in for Emmanuel for 2020?
For me, God has given me so many songs that I've not recorded. Some I have recorded and nearly finished. Some are finished. So 2020, I'll be bringing out more material. Because I was saying to someone, we always say people shouldn't dance to secular songs, but what options are we giving them? They can't really dance as well to Alpha and Omega, but if we give them options of songs that are danceable and all of that kind of stuff, the youth want to be cool. So church is lit, there. So I want to be able to bring out more material that people can dance with, people can cry with, people can worship with, praise with. So more stuff, and more events, and also more sponsorships, partnerships. They should see me more on BBC, ITV, Sky, all of that. So
that is excellent. That is excellent. So where can we find Emmanuel?
Yeah, on Instagram it's Emmanuel Smith, EMMANUEL SMITH, on all social media. On Facebook it's my full name, Emmanuel Smith Tally, TALI, and on YouTube Emmanuel Smith. You'll find this guy with a beard. You can't miss it.
Thank you so much. And Mom, where can we find you?
I know. Oh my God!
She'll find you.
Doris Smith on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I'm so thankful that you made it here, and I know Emmanuel, you're coming back in 2020 for us to continue our chat.
I have to say to the audience as well, this is history. this is the first interview with me and my mom. So
Yay!
you definitely made
I
it.
am so thankful. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Welcome.
making time to come and talk to me and share with our wonderful viewers or audience, and also telling us certain things that we didn't. I believe and I know that you have enjoyed this conversation we've had with our award-winning singer-songwriter, gospel artist. He's doing it all. Brand ambassador. But the one thing that I love about Emmanuel doing is his gospel music. Is beautiful. I watched your morning worship in Tree this morning, and I'm stuck. So follow him on social media. Not just follow, but support his work. And I know that he's always going to take us to God's presence. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.